Hi there, how are you? I know it's been a bit since DAS has come up with another clip. Here I am again. I'm sure everybody's doing fine. Thank God for His mercies on each and every one of us. Thank God for our lives. Um, I'm going to be chit chatting with you today on a topic that is of a bit of concern to me. Um, I like to talk about maturity, in whatever we do in life, in our in our relationships. It could be maturity between siblings. It could be maturity with co-workers. But I'm going to be talking about maturity in relationships. Okay. Um, in my own little way, I've noticed that a lot of, well, let me say some men, especially the ones that are like 40 and above, a lot of Nigerian men feel lying to a woman is a way to get into her pants. You may be right to some extent, but not all women, not all of us wants that. A lot of women like for a man to keep it real. A lot of women like for a man to be sincere. If with like I said, with maturity, you know, it's about two consenting adults. You like each other, you see each other, you click, you want to get your freak on, you're entitled to do it. It's two consenting adults. But you don't need to lie to the person, to the woman. You don't need to manipulate the woman before you get between her legs. Maturity goes a long way. Maybe some women like to be lied to, but not, maybe most women like to be lied to, but not all of us. Some women just can't stand it when a man lies to them. And it's so unfortunate that this kind of lies that they come up with are obvious, lies, that they're white lies, they're obvious lies that at the end of the day, as long as the woman is straightforward with the guy, everything is going to play into her hands, if you know what I mean. Just because you want to be with a woman don't mean you have to lie to her. And I'm talking about men who has been previously married, who has been in previous relationships before. They must have learned a thing or two in their previous relationship before coming into the new one. Why must you lie to a woman? I know people do things for different reasons, but when you're dealing with a woman, and permit me to say that it's vice versa too sometimes, but when you're dealing with a person, it's the way the person relates to you. When you talk to them, when you converse with them, when you see each other one on one, why can't you just be with that person the same way? Why do you have to lie? When you don't you? I'm sure you know that when you lie, at the end of the day, it's gonna come out again. And there's stupid lies that don't make sense sometimes. I'm not gonna go into details what kind of lies they are, because the men who do, they know. A lot of women want a relationship with a man. Most times, it's the man that will come up to the woman in most cases, and it's whatever you bring on the plate that the woman will whatever game. I don't want to use the word game, but you know what I mean. Why can't you just keep it real, for crying out loud? Why do you have are you If you're trying to impress a woman, that's not the way to do it, by lying to them, especially a woman that you know is real, a woman that you know she's not that she's flawless, but at least she's keeping it real with you, and you can see it in some of in her ways and the way she talks and the things that she does. Why do you have to lie to them? And when you lie to them, you mess up the relationship, because at the end of the day, they get to know. Now, another thing that is of concern to me is when a man comes up to a woman, or it could be vice versa, when a woman hits on a man, and then for whatever, each person knows, they have various reasons for going into relationships. And when somebody brings something to your plate, it's up to you to accept it or not. Nobody's flawless. We all have our flaws. There's no perfect person out there. But the thing is, we have to learn to tolerate each other. We have to learn to abide and be with each other. We have to learn to respect each other. We have to learn to respect each other's feelings, which a lot of people are not doing. That's why there's a lot of breaking up in relationship these days. And I know, as you know, according to our culture, ọkùnrin ló máa ń lọ bóbìnrin. I mean, there's no big deal to it in a woman hitting on a man, but when a woman hits on a man, it's an ego thing for them. They feel like, oh my, I don't see a big deal to it. You know what I mean? But that's not the case. And then if a woman likes you, she comes up to you. If you're tally and you're on the same page, there's no biggie to it. But when you now feel you have the right to come into somebody's life and then just cut it off abruptly like that, now that is so unfair. So unfair. And one thing that bothers me is when a person does that kind of thing, when you feel, oh, you've sized up the person, you've done your homework on the person, and then you bring stuff to her plate or his plate, and then you kick it off, and then, you got talking, you see each other, blah, 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 and you feel you're done with the person, and then you just feel you have the right to cut it off just like that. Not even thinking about the person's feelings, not even thinking about stuff you've spoken about, not even thinking about, the other, your maybe your kids that you've got involved in the relationship and all that. Do you ever look back and say, okay, this person does it come across your mind? Is that conscience there for you to say, okay, what I've done to this girl or to this guy is not good. Let me just check up on her, even if it's just to apologize. Has it ever come across your mind like that? You think because you're coming to somebody's life, you come into a relationship with them, and then you cut it off at your own pace. Don't you think maybe that person will be of a better, maybe that person will help you in the future? Have you ever thought about it like that? Has it ever come across your mind when you hurt somebody so badly? And I'm sure some of you know within you that, that you're the one that did wrong. Is it a thing of ego or arrogance that you can't even check up on the person and say, okay, I don't even have any explanation, I just apologize for what happened. What is it going to cost you to do that? You feel you have a right to come into somebody's life, cut it up abruptly, move on and start another new life with another person, and then you leave that person stranded. After you string them along, making them believe that, okay, this person is my boyfriend, or this person is my girlfriend, or maybe something is going to come out of this relationship. You understand? I don't think people do that. I think it's something that a lot of people should really think about. It's not fair when you come into somebody's life and then you walk out. Not all relationships definitely will end in maybe being the person's fiance, or being the person's wife, or being the person's husband. Not at all. That's not the case. But just because you're not with that person anymore, does that mean you have to hurt them and don't look back? I try to think about this thing sometimes, and I don't know, me, it bothers me and it hurts. As in, why you don't even know what this person can still do for you in the future. Now, do you know what I mean? You don't even know where you're going to meet in the future. You don't even know what they can still do for you. But because of the way you behaved previously, maybe you have a conscience, maybe you don't. I don't know. But even if you do, you should think about the future, and not just because of your own selfish interest. It's so unfair. I don't know. I hope this is going to get to somebody out there. Before you get into a relationship, if you don't lead anybody on, don't string them along. If it's just to wish the person that you want, please go ahead and tell the person straight up. Don't promise them heaven and earth. Don't promise them a marriage. Don't promise them a relationship. Yeah, let's cut shoes. There's some women out there that want just that. But when you start calling them, you start planning a future with them, you start, making them feel, this person, he's my guy or she's my babe. And then all of a sudden, they call move, you just give them a fast just like that. It's so unfair, for real. So unfair. So, to both men and women out there, relationships are not easy, especially this day and age, with all this crazy ideas that people have. Oh gosh, people really need to slow their roll. We need to slow our roll, because if we're doing stuff like this now, how do we train our kids and let them know that, this is how to treat a woman, this is how to treat a man. As a woman, you have to be submissive to your man. As a man, you have to be responsible for your woman. How do we want to train them? So many men are out there just bashing kafo kunrin, be long kafo bearing. They will say, ah, oh, she's dated Lagbaya, she's dated Tamedu, she's dated Lakashigbe. Sometimes it's not her fault. It's not her fault. It takes two to tango. Or laughing well. So I mean, people we all need to slow our roll when it comes to this relationship thing. If you want to bench somebody, tell them straight up that's what you want. Any matured person will be sensible enough to know that, oh, this is what this person is bringing to my plate. It's either a yes or a no. You don't need to lie to the person, especially to single women, and especially to single mothers out there. Because when you bring stuff to their plate, it's not that it's like a desperation thing. Like, oh, okay, oh, my boy, molati fail, or my feminine. No, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, life goes on. So please, both men and women, including myself,